When I was in that cult, them white people really had me waking up on Saturday mornings to run in the mud for multiple hours. Plus, they had me paying $250, $300 a week just to work out with them. How?
Fitness studios will use community and use language around community and say that they're fostering community, but it's really a way for them to exploit the loyalty of their customers and sometimes even the loyalty of their instructors.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Okay, picture this. You live in one of the big cities, the LAs, the New Yorks, the Chicagos if you're feeling a little spicy, and you're trying to live your best life and finding community and staying fit. And like obviously being in one of these major cities, finding things like workout classes are a dime a dozen. Don't like bar? Try Pilates. Not your style? That's okay. Try Legree. Oh, you don't have a death wish? That's totally fine. If not, you can always try out that new trending fitness workout that somehow involves a mini trampoline. But if you can't find a workout for you, or God forbid, you can't afford it, then that's your fault. And obviously not a systemic issue at all. Hey guys, what's up? Imurgency and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're talking about luxury fitness classes. And I tried to kind of give that with my fit. Like, am I giving luxury fitness? Am I giving like I go to like Solid Core or something? Am I giving twunk? Am I giving I wake up at 6 a.m. to go to Legree? Like, work with me, people, I'm trying. So yeah, today we're talking about luxury fitness classes, and specifically how it's beginning to seem that over the past couple of years, luxury fitness classes are starting to look less like actual fitness and more so along the lines of a cult. Now I know to some of you that may sound like a stretch. Walk with me. What do we think about when we think of luxury fitness or studio fitness? We think of things like overpriced matching sets, clean girl aesthetic, inspirational quotes, ridiculous, both slow and also fast at the same time movements that you never really use in real life, and most importantly, the check-denting monthly membership that is most definitely going to be in the 3 figures range. Now, health and wellness obsessions are actually nothing new. They've always been a thing. But more recently, we're starting to see an increase in like cultish mentality surrounding studio fitness, and more specifically, luxury fitness. Because yes, you do need the Aesop soap and little Q-tips in your gym's bathroom. You do need the Kiehl's products to shower with. Like, it's an essential. And while there is a lot of content online about people praising and showing off how much their monthly memberships to their gyms and fitness studio classes are, that's not really what we're talking about in this video. We're here to see if luxury fitness has gotten out of hand and if it is in fact a cult. And if we're talking about the culting of luxury fitness, we need to talk about one of the first pioneers in our modern day fitness industry. And to do that, we need to look no further than to Tracy Anderson and her fitness empire. So what really got the wheel starting for this video topic was this Atlantic article called "Inside the Exclusive, Obsessive, and Surprisingly Litigious World of Luxury Fitness" by writer Xochitl Gonzalez, who profiles the fitness mogul Tracy Anderson and her empire, and as it turns out, it may actually be closer to a cult than we may think. I mean, when you look at it, commercialized wellness has always been something that's been a little too close to cultish for my taste. Like, there is a very strong pipeline between like wellness and holistic health and the more extreme cultish, like anti-science and medicine crew. But when it comes to Tracy Anderson and luxury fitness specifically, this article may be proving a cultish link for luxury fitness as well. So let's talk a little bit about that. You ever wonder where your favorite or not so favorite celebrities go to work out on a day-to-day basis to look the way that they do? The answer more often than not is Tracy Anderson. Even if you aren't super into the celebrity and pop culture sphere, the name Tracy Anderson may or may not sound familiar to you, because from celebs like Gwyneth Paltrow, to Madonna, to Harry Styles, to Tracy Ellis Ross, many of the upper echelon of celebrities, or just like stupidly rich people, have either tried or swear by the Tracy Anderson method, which is basically this workout method that founder Tracy Anderson put together to help people get in shape and as thin as possible. And while the workout itself can't be simply defined as something like Pilates or jazzercise, it really contains a hodgepodge of everything, but its foundation lies in dance and movement. Now let's take a second to talk about Tracy Anderson specifically. Tracy initially got her start as a dancer and really wanted to make it out on Broadway. When she eventually moved to New York, her focus shifted to fitness and incorporating her past in dance to create what is now known as the Tracy Anderson, or the Tracy Anderson method. And this method has turned into an entire empire, with physical studios popping up in LA, New York, the Hamptons, Madrid, London, and coming very soon to a city near you, Miami. And it doesn't stop at just fitness studios. She also has retail stores too. So you too can sport the Tracy Anderson workout clothes and merch to let people know that you are serious about your health and wellness and you are no brokey. No, I mean like actually no brokey. Like I'm looking at the site right now and like they sell basketball shorts for like $150. I just know that if I'm paying $150 for some shorts, my be sitting, okay? But she also sells these things called Heartstones, which are essentially weighted rose quartz energy trainers that you can use in your Tracy Anderson method workouts that cost you just the measly price of, oh, what does that say? $299. Like, if that isn't the most woo-woo. And honestly, I can't even hate. If you're getting people to pay $300 for some weighted rose quartz, you got it. Who am I to judge? Anderson claims she's done her own research, accumulating data from over 150 women every 10 days over the span of 5 years. And she says that for the work she's put into the method, she doesn't feel bad for the charging that she does for her products and for her services. In a quote from the article, and yet the study is not, of course, an actual clinical study. It was not performed by independent researchers and was not submitted for peer review at an academic journal. When I followed up with Beltrani, the president, to ask if Anderson could share the data with me, he told me that they were proprietary. Even so, Anderson argues that only the closed-minded would ignore her findings because she is an outsider to the scientific establishment. What bothers her most is the idea that others are copying her moves without properly understanding the science. So essentially, this alludes to the research not being technically legit, with it just being based off her own clients and generally kept super hidden. And based off of the success of Tracy Anderson and her method, people have opened their own studios attempting to use her moves. And she says what bothers her most about that is that they don't understand the science. And the term science is being used pretty loose here, but the feeling of being protective over your business and method is completely understandable. Now, actually, we keep talking about the business and the method and stuff. Let's break down what actually is going into this method to make it a luxury service. So if you're feeling like signing up to be a member, actually, let me sell this to you like I'm a gym sales associate. So if you're thinking about becoming a member, it does start at $900 a month. And no, that does not include the initiation fee, which will be about the price of a studio apartment, $1,500 according to Pop Sugar. And like, I completely understand if that's not in your budget range, that's totally fine. If you do happen to be poor or whatever, you can actually download the app and subscribe for a monthly charge of $129.99 or the low price of $699.99 for 6 months. Yeah, that much for in-app videos is crazy, especially because, you know, things like Fitness Blender exist. And look, no one ever said that this was meant to be accessible. I don't think that was ever the target demo. But it is really interesting to read in the Atlantic article that she also expressed a wish that she could make her workouts more accessible to people that are making a difference, like teachers, you know what I mean? Nurses, people who are underpaid and making a difference. They need it. Though she did not offer any specifics over how she do this. Like, to that point, aren't you the owner of the company? Like, if that's something you wanted to do, couldn't you go and do that? She does see politics as a wellness issue, though. Not that she considers herself to be like a talking head for all things politics, but it is certainly interesting that, yes, your program is meant for the 1%, and we don't need to pretend like it's not. And also, yes, exercise is beneficial to people in underpaid, high-stress positions, and it just so happens to be that, unfortunately, this company seems to be a part of the luxury fitness gatekeepers. It is a pay-to-play system, but fortunately, there are other alternatives. Now, by no means am I here to tell you whether or not it's worth it or not, because I, in fact, am not the target demographic. I know, shocker. Me, unfortunately, not the 1%. Like and subscribe, please. I do think it's a little wild, though, to pay $900 to do this when you could just, you know, like, dance for free in your room with your headphones on, have a good time. I don't know. Like, I guess spending your money on whatever your heart desires, but like, you know, we got to make it make sense. And for me personally, one thing that's going to make sense every single time to spend my money on is going to be whatever's going to help me sleep the best, okay? Because working out is cool, but rest is one thing I don't play about, which is why I'm so happy to talk to you about this video sponsor, Helix. Come with me real quick. Hey. Let's talk about Helix mattresses while I'm on the Helix mattress. I've been a huge fan of Helix mattresses for the past 3 years now. Like, I genuinely do not play about them. In my last video with Helix, I told y'all about their mattress toppers, which are really great if you're not in the market to buy like a full new mattress yet, but you want to upgrade your current one. Today, we got to talk about their actual mattresses. If you're unfamiliar, Helix makes a line of over 20 premium mattresses. I've previously been sleeping on a full-size Helix Dusk mattress since 2022 after I was influenced by one of my favorite ASMR creators to actually go and buy Helix. So really, this is kind of full circle. But now I very recently just upgraded to a queen size Helix Dusk Luxe, which is really great for stomach sleepers like me. Like, as you can see right now, I am very supported and the mattress is very comfortable. I'm genuinely so excited to be working with Helix because Helix is one of my absolute dream brands. Like I said, I've invested my own money into Helix for years. And honestly, like I've said, this is a new bed, but I actually literally have my old bed right there in the other room because I just switched this out. And what I really love about Helix is that they make it so easy to find the perfect bed for you. They have this thing called the Helix Sleep Quiz, which helps you find which mattress is best for your sleep style. And if for whatever reason it isn't a perfect match, Helix offers an 100-night sleep trial. So if for whatever reason you're not messing with it, you can send it back for a full refund. Helix, again, is a brand that I love, but also has been a great partner to the channel, and they've hooked y'all up with a great deal. They're actually running a 4th of July exclusive partner sale where you can get 27% off everything site-wide, just as long as you use the link in my description and pinned comment, and that's helixsleep.com/emergency. So whether you're trying to look for a brand new mattress or just looking to upgrade your current mattress with one of their premium mattress toppers, Helix is going to have something for you. So make sure to jump on the sale because it ends at the end of July. Thank you so much, Helix, for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into talking about some cults. Now, what would it mean to compare Tracy Anderson's method or just luxury fitness to a cult? I'm personally never one to throw language around willy-nilly, like people are always talking, but truly what happens when the talk isn't cheap and it is what it is, you know? But by definition, a cult has its religion-tied definition that then has been adapted into a modern connotation, basically meaning that it doesn't have one solid true definition. But according to Britannica, a cult is defined as a usually small group devoted to a person, idea, or philosophy on a more broad spectrum. I think Amanda Montel's classifications of a cult, especially when relating to fitness and wellness, are really good. Shout out Cultish, the language of fanaticism, and sounds like a cult podcast. Like it says here, through fitness as religion, that many modern fitness studios have adopted language and practices reminiscent of religious cults to create devoted followings. The trend capitalizes on the decline of traditional religious affiliation, offering a sense of community, purpose, and transcendence through physical activity. Citing things like charismatic instructors as like guru figures, specialized vocabulary and mantras exclusive to each fitness studio, the promises of personal transformation beyond just fitness, as well as things like a tight-knit community with its own rituals, as well as the encouragement of recruiting new members in a very, do you have a minute to talk about our Lord and Savior type beat. And when it comes to people like Tracy Anderson and the Tracy Anderson method, they use the term family, which is a combination of Tracy Anderson and family, I know, referring to the avid users of the method, and as well as people that actually have memberships. And it's really interesting that she's very adamant about not being a guru and more so a trainer, because guru is usually associated with like cultish language. But now let's talk about the lack of language, or rather speech, of the Tracy Anderson method, because it is a staple part of her class that she does not speak. You know, like when fitness instructors usually say things like, "Now deepen that lunge, get in there. Yes, Armando, feel that burn and hold. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, Diva does none of that because her philosophy is, and I quote, "Not speaking during the workout is a symbolic gesture, in a sense of the need to tune out the noise and listen to what your body's telling you." I mean, to me that sounds a little woo-woo, but if people like it, I love it. And I guess what works, right? I think this kind of creates and enforces this in-group versus out-group.
This studio costs $900 a month, and I got a sneak peek at their newest location, Tracy Anderson, Santa Monica. This studio is as stunning as it is intimidating. The cult level, a solid 11 out of 10. These women don't just do Tracy Anderson, they are Tracy Anderson. If you're new, be prepared to feel like an absolute reject as you flail around trying to keep up. Because here's the thing, there is no talking, no instruction. The instructor just exists while you desperately try to mimic her movements and pretend you're understanding what's going on. For those who ask, the ta is not as much hot as it is wet. In the workout, think ballet, but make it interpretive dance circus act meets Pilates on steroids. And if you don't like a move, too bad. You're married to it for what feels like a lifetime before you're granted access to the next impossibly hard one. I can't explain it, but I understand why it's so addicting, and you'll definitely catch me here again. If you enjoy mystery, sweating out your will to live, and questioning who you are, this is for you. Tracy Anderson, Santa Monica launches early.
Like the girl in that TikTok mentions, if you're a beginner or new, it's harder to keep up, know what's happening, or how to really catch on and do the moves properly, because the instructors aren't guiding you through it through things like verbal cues. And of course, the people that go regularly, aka those being in the in-group, already have an idea of the movements, leaving first-timers or generally new people to be flailing around looking crazy. Trying to keep up in an already intimidating and vulnerable space like a workout studio. Like, while you can afford to try and treat yourself to a luxury fitness class, it's still obvious that if you're not super committed, you're still not in that in-group. And if you want that form of community, or if you want to bypass the whole humiliation ritual of like not knowing what you're doing and kind of making a fool of yourself at first, you've got to fork over the big bucks, which we're going to talk about soon. So yeah, there have been different cult-like behaviors displayed from various different group workout classes, whether they be luxury or not, and some of those may have been harmful. But when speaking specifically about the whole Tracy Anderson method of it all, like, yes, there is a cult following, but as long as you can afford it and can conform to the norms of the space, and also aren't in some crazy sacrificial levels of debt, it does seem like a pretty benign cult, if at all. Like, it definitely doesn't hit all of the marks. We're following the America Montel school of thought here, but some are definitely there. Regardless of if it's a full-fledged cult or not, it is still so strange to have people pay upwards of $900 a month for workout classes when life is already expensive enough for the rest of us as it is. In a part of Kelty's YouTube video, she points out that if you're you're devoting 2 hours a day for 6 days a week, which is generally the recommendation by regulars to see optimal results, and you're putting that much of your money and your free time into one space, it does give cultish vibes, in which in part I do have to agree with. Like, that amount of dedication and devotion, both emotionally and financially, really requires a level of introspection. I know what some of y'all are gonna say. Rumi, is that not just like the community that you talk about so much in your videos? Like spending a lot of your time building a connection with a group of people that have mutual interests? Well, yes and no, because yes, you are getting a community from these sorts of workout classes, group fitness, whatever, what have you, but community should not have to require a price tag. Like, you shouldn't have to be paying to make and maintain these friendships. And let's not pretend that there also aren't some very recent extreme examples of these workout classes kind of being a little culty. Like one, for example, being Solid Core. Like, one of my very good friends is a coach at Solid Core. I actually don't know if I should air that out, given what I'm about to say next. So a friend, you know who you are, and I'm very sorry. But Solid Core recently offered $100 worth of class credits, which is about 3 classes, if you got a Solid Core logo tattoo on your body, which realistically would just be the tattoo reimbursement if you're thinking about it. So we've officially reached the branding stage of the culting of group fitness. Love that. And then there's definitely some stuff to be said about SoulCycle. Like, let's be real.
Is SoulCycle a cult? According to this The Cut article, it is, and I'm inclined to agree. Known for fostering an unapologetic wellness obsession, SoulCycle has become a nearly spiritual experience for the decreasingly religious Gen Z. Let's review. The hallmark of any cult is special language. SoulCyclers are all too familiar with the terminology taking a journey through life's strenuous hills. Exhibit B, being encouraged to sport SoulCycle apparel. Sure, a unified look and apparel is part of any brand these days, right? Well, let's combine this one with our following points, such as a connection to the SoulCycle instructors. Riders maintain sacred bonds with their instructors. They develop favorites whom they revere and eagerly await the sermons they deliver throughout each SoulCycle session. Sound familiar? Not to mention these mantras shoved down your face on the wall, like we aspire to inspire. Number 4, imparting beliefs onto riders, who enthusiastically pass on messages like, if someone asks you if you're back on cocaine or if you have an eating disorder, you know you've hit your goal weight. Finally, we have the culture of yes, in which SoulCycle instructors are encouraged to say yes to anything the riders ask, even, can I borrow your socks? This is meant to develop a sense of community and draw people in. So what do you think? Has SoulCycle simply mastered inclusive marketing tactics? Or does it possess the characteristics of a mild cult?
No, I touched a little bit on community before when I was talking about the difference between like community and like paying to be in a space. But let's talk more specifically around the gatekeeping of community and also keeping fitness behind a paywall. Well, first, let's start off by saying, what's new? We've learned to commercialize and commodify everything else about our lives. Truly, why should fitness be any different? With the loss of things like third spaces in our everyday lives, it seems that where we work out has now filled that niche. For many people outside of work and home, the gym has filled that third space. But of course, these options do not come without a price. On the lower end of the pricing scale, you have gyms like Planet Fitness, which is definitely more accessible in price, but what you're sacrificing in price is sacrificed in the lack of group or general community. As generally the goal and incentive there is just to get your workout in and then dip. But of course, the more you're able to pay, the closer you are to having it all. On the higher end, you have places like Equinox, which aside from the typical workout areas, you have things like personal training, juice bars, spas, community events, and communal areas where you can mix and mingle, do your actual work, and just hang out with your fellow gym goers. And by the way, this is not just a presumed gatekeeping through financial barriers thing. Like, I'm not just pulling this out of thin air. Equinox themselves has kind of validated this by acting a little wild in their marketing. Like, if you remember back in 2023, they launched a whole campaign called We Don't Speak January, basically freezing membership signups on January 1st. You know, the day everyone starts their New Year's resolutions and says that they're going to get in the gym this year and change their life around. And while this may have been some sort of retention strategy move, we can't act like those initiation fees weren't going to bring in a ton of money. But I'm no CFO, so we shall move on. But this truly shows that their whole intention behind this is to garner a truly committed and loyal base of customers to join. So obviously the people that believe in New Year's resolutions just won't cut it for their exclusive and very serious gym. Again, creating a very distinct in-group and out-group here. A sense of allegiance, if you will, to the community. Like, it's like the whole phrasing of, and that's not what being a part of Equinox is about. Like, let's be so serious here. Are you a gym or are you a frat? Choose quickly. But it's also the part where they go, we go beyond what's possible. We defy expectations. We are not moderation. We want it all every day. And you deserve it all. That gives like kind of culty language, which again, to reference Amanda Montell, is using specialized vocabulary and mantras to make people feel a part of a group. But it also delves a little deeper into the power of using exclusionary language and the power words. And a quote from Montell, language is a leader's charisma. It's what empowers them to create a mini universe, a system of values and truths, and then compel their followers to heed its rules. Saying things like cultish groups use language as their primary tool to convert, condition, and coerce followers. They create a specialized vocabulary that bonds insiders while excluding outsiders. This exclusive jargon makes members feel special and chosen, while also making it difficult to communicate with those outside the group. Again, in the words of Equinox, we go beyond what's possible, we defy expectation. We are not moderation. We want it all every day, and you deserve it all. At Equinox, we do not speak January, and neither do you. And again, sorry for the cutting back and forth, but does that not sound like, wait, hold on, let me make sure I read this right. Techniques working to reshape followers' reality and worldview, aligning them with the leader's ideology? Nah, I'm just tripping. I'm reaching, I'm pulling. I don't know. And this is all just for your regular gyms. Like, let's get to the group workout classes of it all. So again, back in the world of Tracy Anderson, in that Atlantic article that we've been referencing, a devout family member, which again sounds so crazy to say. Wait a second, I say that like I don't call y'all the roommates. Let me relax. But the family member noted that when she let go of the regiment, she expressed guilt about the weight gain when she moved and no longer had the space to work out. But more than that, what she truly misses is how the method made her feel and the environment and sisterhood that we all had when we were there, she said. It was more than a workout. And hearing this quote, of course, with what we've been talking about for the past however many minutes, makes your ears perk up. Like, what do you mean by that? Yes, the community aspect does help us get by in a lot of things, but it's crazy to consider the loss of this community because of its paywall and physical limitations. She didn't have space for it in her house, nor did she have a gym nearby. The family that you pay $900 a month to be a part of is now gone. Now, this is the part of the video where we do a little experiment. But you know, since I don't really have the resources or wherewithal to pay $900 a month to test the method right now, we're gonna do the second best thing. Live vicariously through and watch someone else do it. Yeah. Shout out to Kelty O'Connor and her very thorough video, personally trying the Tracy Anderson method, as well as her general understanding of fitness, with her being an athlete and all. And one of her conclusions was that, yes, the class was very fun, but no, she didn't think that it was worth the price point. Like, maybe if you're a celebrity like Madonna and wanna pay for your privacy, like, actually, let's take a second to imagine, like, imagine you're just doing like a Zumba class and all of a sudden, like an Ariana Grande walks in. Like, I'm just picturing that ponytail going everywhere doing those moves. Like, please. But back to Kelty. She did say that the class was about equal amounts of fun as like any other cardio class. And in another segment of But Wait, There's More Testimonials, my own researcher wanted to share her experience, stating that coming clean as a former hit group fitness studio girly. Where she says that they do get you a bit with the community and empowerment rhetoric of it all, with the front desk knowing her name, asking her about her day, celebrating milestones, or would even hit her with the I haven't seen you in the last week, like deep in it. And that membership cost around $150 a month. And that was the price post haggling. Like, I myself have also done my share of like group fitness classes more recreationally, but I definitely see how like the more you get into it, the more you get into it, you know? Like, they have things like offsite events, they celebrate holidays together. And again, I'm not trying to demonize or dissuade anyone from joining like group fitness classes, because it is really sweet that this is so many people's third place and sense of community. I'm just trying to say that the whole pay to play to have a group of friends and community doesn't necessarily sit right with me. Like, we see not just only in TikToks like this, but in a lot of people's rhetoric, or people trying to persuade you that it's worth joining a gym that's upwards of $200 a month for things like networking or putting you in the right rooms with the right people. So yeah, people are definitely paying for like the networking, which isn't necessarily community, which is also in and of itself pretty interesting, because yeah, like only other rich and like wealthy people would have memberships to these luxury spaces that they can be together in that doesn't revolve around anything like work or like family related stuff. So like trying to pay your way in there is to network with them. It kind of gives like you're clearly here for some alternate agenda vibes.
Clearly you're here for an alternate agenda. Why would you want to be here to provoke me like this?
But now to bring this all together, let's talk about the commodification of hobbies, physical activity, and consistency. And just off the rip, if there's one thing I'm gonna do, it's gonna be blame capitalism. Yup. Because it seems like any hobbies that we take up that are actually physical, whether that be running, aerial skills, cycling, boxing, basically whatever you can think of, there has been a way to commodify it. And lately we've seen that with run clubs. And I know, I'm talking about this as someone that loves a run club. That's my cult. And like the run club that I go to is free. And as far as I know, has always been free to enter, which is why I don't necessarily understand how people are commodifying and charging people to join a run club. Like, I saw this really funny tweet. I don't know if I can put it here if I can find it, but I saw this really funny tweet of like someone complaining that they want to join a run club, but they're charging to join the run club. And like another person quoted the tweet being like, what are they gonna do? Like, stop you from running? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, unless they're running in like a closed off area, who's gonna stop you from just like joining them while they're all running? Like, they can't own the street, you know? Because outside is free and running is free. So, well, what are you gonna do? Which then, if we're putting two and two together, if you're asking what would you be paying for if, again, the running is free and the outside is free, what's the one difference here? Oh, community. And like, I don't want to discount like the fact that I know a lot of run club organizers do go out of pocket to pay for things like snacks, electrolytes, drinks, and stuff like that, and actually put a lot of work and effort into building these communities. I'm just saying that it's a shame that it's having to get to this point where a lot of run clubs are starting to charge, and kind of a sign of the times if we're being honest. Like, yes, you can join this run club, but in order to have like exclusive routes and exclusive access to one-on-one trading with me, you do have to pay a subscription of like $59.99 a month. I'm so sorry. Like, it's just a commodification of things that are like the most natural to us in things like wellness. Like Pilates, I understand. There is nothing natural about Pilates. Being bent up and moving slowly in those positions has to be the work of the devil. I'm sorry. Charge for that because you're working for the devil. Like running, like you have wellness places where people pay to go sit in ice water. Like, yeah, going to a lake in the morning to do that is not necessarily doable or accessible to everyone geographically. But you know, it's like kind of one of those things that is natural and also something that we've now commodified. And again, I love me a little workout class. Me and berries go together real bad. So none of this is to put judgment on people at all. Most of the harm, if any, is purely benign. But also, I do feel like people are getting scammed by like the whole like lux of the whole workout class. Because what do you mean you're paying over $200 for a gym membership just to move your body? Like, that's not even talking about Miss Anderson with the $900 classes. Like, I understand why it would be considered worth it for like different instances, but still, like at its core, it is a little wild. And since we're talking about the commodification of hobbies and like fitness and like gatekeeping community and working out, we got to talk about ClassPass. Actually, everyone and their mom have been trying to get me on ClassPass. I've actually taken a ClassPass class once, and ClassPass, if you ever want to sponsor a video, please go ahead. But I am going to talk about you really quick. It feels like everyone is on that app to one, like help with the whole financial creep of going to workout classes and finding community and stuff like that. But I do think that when it comes to things like building community, that is not necessarily the one-stop shop for your solutions, you know? Sorry, I went on a whole tangent there. I'm very passionate about this, as you can tell. If you're unfamiliar, ClassPass is an app that lets you use a certain amount of credits to purchase different classes. And the classes vary from like fitness to just lifestyle to whatever. And the pricing scale for buying these credits is city-based. So like in LA, $89 a month gets you 43 credits. And the classes vary depending on how much they cost credits-wise. If you've watched my previous videos about like convenience and how things like delivery apps like Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats and likes actually impact small businesses, then this might sound a little familiar because independently owned fitness studios can choose to join ClassPass for the increased visibility as well as traction, but in doing so, they are sacrificing a lot of their bottom line in profit. Like in a quote from this article, ClassPass has cemented a firm position in the fitness industry, with many praising its model. While ClassPass may seem like a great deal for members, many dangers come from this option for studios and gyms. For fitness junkies, ClassPass is a great way to get a variety of gyms and studios for an affordable monthly fee. For gyms and studios, it's a great way to gain exposure to potential new members, but isn't always a reliable stream of income. Basically saying it's kind of like a win-lose-lose. As a user, yeah, you get access to a bunch of different gyms and classes for discounted rates. But if you're going to different gyms and different studios all the time, it's harder to build a community in one location because you can always choose a different workout or a different class. And sometimes it's actually incentivized to do so through the credit distribution. And then on the business side, yeah, you can be having a lot of new customers through visibility and stuff like that. Then you lose out on a profit because the app is taking a portion and you're not getting a regular member paying a monthly fee. It's a catch-22 where no one's entirely winning but the company. And again, none of this is to demonize or like put down anything. I understand some people really love ClassPass and like the ability to move around and try different things and explore different workout classes before sticking to one or never really sticking to one. But if we're searching for gyms and places where working out can fill that third space, isn't this kind of doing the opposite? Is an encouraging factor on ClassPass to try out different things, to try new physical hobbies, new spas, and also, as of recently, beauty, as opposed to sticking to one place and becoming a regular there. And also, as a side note, we gotta admit, at a certain point, at least for LA, the prices for a lot of these classes has gotten a little insane. Like 43 credits for studio classes in LA really ain't gonna get you too much, especially if you wanna work out consistently and God forbid, daily. Like when you do the math on some of these monthly or weekly memberships, some of them actually end up being cheaper. But the whole thing about this commodification of like hobbies and stuff like that is that in order to be consistent with your hobbies, to be consistent with that community that you're trying to build, you ultimately need to consistently pay. And unfortunately, if you can no longer afford to do that, especially in times like these where the economy is hard, the job market is hard, then you lose access to that community, which then poses the question, was that ever really a true community to begin with if it was pay to play? And that also kind of brings the opposite problem, brings out the legitimacy of like free workouts versus paid workouts. Like you always see when someone's like really serious about their workout journey in the beginning and really wanting to lock in and changing their life or like building that community, the initial thought is always to go for the paid or the group class. Like you're buying a membership to this gym gym, you're buying these memberships to ClassPass, you're buying like chunks of workout classes. And that's to like establish some form of legitimacy or like already have that pressure that you've like invested monetarily in this, so you got to see it through. You very rarely see people do or feel especially validated by taking the free route. Like working out at home by doing free little videos on YouTube, or like daily hikes or daily runs, like those aren't seen as enough or necessarily as legitimate, which is just like an interesting little aside. Like, why does paying for it make it feel real? Like, I like the whole motivation of going in the group that you get from paying for group classes, because group accountability is real. And also you have the whole like sunk cost fallacy where you're like, all right, I paid money for this, I got to see it through. That's not really there to say anything. It's more so like in times like these, we need to start like having more of a internal sense of motivation. Like, don't spend the money, just lock in, do what you need to do. Paying for it does not make it more legitimate. But yeah, to wrap up, is studio or luxury fitness a cult? I mean, we got everyone wearing the same things, eating the same things, drinking the same things, following charismatic leaders, repeating mantras, investing their time and money in it, and drinking the proverbial Kool-Aid. So sorry to bring this diva back up again, but Amanda Montel has a whole spectrum of cults, from like live your life to watch your back to absolutely destructive, get the heck out of there ASAP. Well, I don't think luxury fitness is at the latter end of that spectrum. I do think that cults, in the way that we use the term in modern day, gives us a more sociological framework when analyzing a group phenomena. So in a general sense, yeah, broad definition wise, yeah, they're a cult. But again, a pretty benign and harmless one at that. Now, there are probably definitely exceptions to this rule. So if you ever find yourself in debt to a studio, isolated from your family, your other hobbies, the people that care about you, and are unable to or having a hard time leaving, it's definitely time to introspect and potentially cut your losses and get as far away from there as possible. But in the case of Tracy Anderson, it's like a fun little culty vibe without the harm, you know? Like, you know how friend groups are like, oh my God, we're a cult. Like, yeah, those vibes. At the end of the day, it's a fitness class for the 1%, like Gwyneth Paltrow. Like, what can we do? They're gonna be just fine. I think the influencerification of like luxury fitness though, trying to sell people expensive memberships they don't necessarily need, do get in a little bit of the weeds and are just commercializing things that can be done for cheaper, or if not free. Like, again, outside is free for now. So take advantage of it and don't feel bad about taking advantage of it just because you're not paying for it. Because again, there are a ton of free or low cost ways of finding community, building community, and getting exercise. All it takes is a little bit of research, which is the barrier to entry there. But there are tons of free run groups, walk groups, whatever group you really want to get that aspect of community outside the gym, depending on location, of course, but by and large, yeah. So basically, the moral of the story here is the body is still tea and will continue to be tea, regardless of if you're paying to get behind that paywall or not. And with that, thank you so much for watching. Special thanks again, Helix, for sponsoring this video. Go to helixsleep.com/emergency to get 27% off site-wide until the end of July, and I'll see you later. Peace.